Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode. Please take 1 second, just hit that subscribe button below so you'll get the latest updates when these new videos drop, and following us around the upper Midwest this season, chasing the good walleye bite. So today we are on the Missouri River. That would be Lake Francis Case. Going out of the Chamberlain area. It is not a secret. It is a very popular destination for early spring walleye fishing because it's good. So today we are going to see if it remains good. Water levels are down about 3 or 4 feet, it appears, and I think the bite's been a little slow, a little off. There's no current, or very minimal current. They're not releasing any water from the dam up here, which can affect things a little bit. But water temps upper 30s, low 40s, so they're getting into that point where they're really going to put the feed bag on and start feeding like crazy, getting ready for the spawn. So chasing some of these pre-spawn walleyes. We may fish them shallow. We may vertical jig them deep, or we might pull some lead core. Who knows? We're going to see what let the fish tell us what they want today, and try to put it together and show you how to catch some of these Missouri River walleyes in early spring. So stay tuned, and thanks for following along, guys. So it's early March. It's pretty cold, but we're on a really unseasonably warm day. We have next to no current. I felt a little resistance in the boat driving upstream, but you know, the spring is, or late winter, whatever you want to call it, it's been really warm. So the snow is all gone. We don't have any snow melts. The water's super clean, and it is getting warm pretty quick. So casting, getting these jigs away from the boat is pretty important. We're finding the water just a touch bit dirtier, and that's a little bit warmer. Right now the water is 40 degrees up here. We're only at 8-9 foot, but finding the fish isn't that hard. I'm using my Humminbird, my side scan. You can find these big pods of fish. It's just tricking them into biting is the deal. So the name of the game is slow, super methodical. Pitch it upstream and just kind of work the jig back downstream. The plastic here. If I'm running a jig and minnow, I'm just slow rolling that thing across the bottom with little lifts. As it warms up, we can get a little more aggressive and start popping the rod. But basically what some would like to call feathering it downstream. And they may bite it pretty good, and you might feel it and see the line twitch, or sometimes when you go to lift that rod, you're just going to feel a little resistance, and that's the walleye just sucking on the bait and then set the hook. Finding them's the easy part. Catching them can get a little trickier. We got just a light little breeze today, which might help a little bit. A lot of times in this early spring, late winter, as the water warms up throughout the day and the sun's getting a little higher, these fish will move up into some shallower stuff, and the water temp will increase, and that'll trigger them, and they'll start biting really good in the late afternoon. It hasn't been too bad the last couple mornings, but there's definitely a good afternoon bite as well. You can either spot lock on some of these pods of fish and try to work them, or cover a little water and just drift downstream. Just keep your bait in front of the boat so you can work it real slow versus behind the boat and dragging with the speed. It never hurts to throw a dead stick out the back and drag a jig or a Lindy rig or a float or something like that to catch some of those walleyes as well, as long as you can keep your bait clean. You get a lot of green slime on the bottom of the river this time of year from the winter kill. If your bait's covered in crud, they're not going to bite it. They're not going to find it. Well, there's the first one. A little 15.5 inch, good eater. Got that one on a plastic throwing a Z-Man jerk shad. I love these or the Slim Z's Why, Z-Man? They're buoyant. These float. So they're going to slow the fall down in there, which is exactly what you want this time of year, is anything that'll help you present your bait slower. So a Z-Man, a buoyant bait, as far as any kind of plastic's going to help that fall just a little bit slower and give those little somewhat lethargic fish a chance to come up and hit it. So there's 3 baits that are kind of a staple this time of year for me. That's got to be your plastics, you know, in the minnow styles in that 3 to 3.5 inch range, or even like a bee fishing moxie or something. Works pretty good, as well as a hair jig. I like the VMC hot skirt, the Northland skirts. I mean, all the hair jigs work good, just, you know, keep the right size. And I like to add a little grub plastic to it to help slow the fall as well. And you can't beat the traditional jig and minnow. You know, we got minimal current and the winds are pretty light today. We're gonna get by with an 1/8. You know, you want to use the lightest jig you possibly can that you can get away with and still get good contact and not get a lot of bow in your line, so you can feel those real light bites, make it easier for that fish to inhale that bait. If they're biting good, I can usually get away with a 1/4 ounce, you know, and that'll help me get it, you know, a little further cast to get it away. But 1/8 ounce is 1/8 3/16 is perfect. Oop, there was a little one. Right now they're not smacking it. They're just, it's on the lift and you feel a little weight, and that's about it. Sometimes you just kind of let it lay on the bottom for a second and let them chew on it. We're just drifting downstream here and casting in front of it, working it back so that we're staying ahead of the boat speed here. I've always said, if you're gonna spend money on a rod, put it in your jigging rod. And today I'm using my Legend, it's my St. Croix Legend Extreme 610 medium light extra fast. So I'm getting super quick hook sets on here. Extra fast is that all that bend's gonna come out of the top of that rod. And this thing is so sensitive with this light bite. It's really key to put more of these fish in the boat. I'm using my Legend X 610 medium light extra fast for my live bait rig with my jig and minnow. I don't know why, I've just always loved that rod with my live bait. I think it's just a little bit softer in that series of rod on the medium light than the Extreme. Jig and minnow, got a little pop on that one. Got him finally. Another nice little eater. They're a little smaller today. Getting bigger. Well, we're getting a little bit better. 17 incher. When you're using minnows, just make sure you're keeping an eye on your bait. And I'm going through the lip, out the head, but after a few casts, you start to rip that off there and it's barely hooked. And then when you get a light bite like that, it doesn't take much. Fish wins and you're just feeding them. So I noticed it, but still made another cast without rehooking it. They're scattered all over, but they're not really, it's pretty slow. Sometimes you just get lucky. While you're positioning the boat, you get a pop one. I'm biting as good as it normally do, but you know, I'm kind of putting it together. But I got a nice little limit of eaters today. Beautiful guys. Definitely a jig and minnow day. Just another little nibble there. Cleaned me off. And they aren't aggressive. But stick with it. Put a nice little bag of walleye. Fun pitching jigs, dragging jigs. Not quite showing out like it normally does, but it's a good day. A lot of fish. The fish are here. You just got to work it and be patient. There'll be little windows. A little bit later in the day now, and the bite's picking up a little bit. So pretty typical. But that's it, man. It's Missouri River. It's Lake Francis Case, early spring, pitching jigs up. Been fishing kind of 8 to 13 foot. Real methodical. I always tell the clients, you can't go too slow. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will probably be back here a couple more times and maybe get on a lead core trolling bite, or maybe the plastics will take off for us. But today was a jig and minnow bite. Yesterday was the plastics for sure, for me anyway. But it's fishing.